Zimbabwe, a country blessed with abundant natural resources and potential, has long been grappling with the crippling effects of inflation. This economic challenge has cast a long shadow over the nation's progress and prosperity. From the hyperinflationary spiral of the late 1990s and early 2000s, to the recent struggles to stabilize its currency, Zimbabwe's journey has been a roller coaster ride. This essay delves into the complexities of Zimbabwe's inflation woes, exploring the historical context, government measures, and the critical factors that hold the key to a brighter economic future. The roots of Zimbabwe's inflation problem are multifaceted, stemming from a combination of factors including government policies, economic mismanagement, and external shocks. Decades of economic instability have eroded the nation's industrial base, leading to a decline in production and exports. This has created a vicious cycle of currency depreciation, rising prices, and a decline in living standards for ordinary Zimbabweans. Despite the daunting challenges, Zimbabweans have shown remarkable resilience and determination in the face of adversity. The government has implemented various measures to curb inflation and stabilize the economy. However, the path to recovery is fraught with obstacles, and success hinges on addressing deep-seated structural issues and fostering an environment conducive to sustainable growth. The late 1990s and early 2000s witnessed Zimbabwe's descent into the abyss of hyperinflation. This period remains etched in the nation's memory as a time of unprecedented economic turmoil and hardship. The Zimbabwean dollar, once a symbol of national pride, rapidly lost value, becoming practically worthless. At the peak of hyperinflation in 2008, prices soared at an astronomical rate, with inflation estimated to have reached an unfathomable 89.7 sextillion%. This meant that prices doubled every few hours, making it impossible for ordinary citizens to afford basic necessities. Supermarket shelves were left empty as goods became scarce. The consequences of hyperinflation were devastating. Savings were wiped out, pensions became meaningless, and salaries lost their purchasing power within hours. The economy ground to a halt as businesses struggled to cope with the constantly changing prices. Millions were plunged into poverty, and the fabric of society was severely strained. In a desperate bid to halt the hyperinflationary spiral and restore stability, Zimbabwe abandoned its national currency in 2009. The government adopted a multi-currency system, allowing the use of foreign currencies such as the US dollar, South African rand, and others for transactions. The introduction of the multi-currency system brought about a semblance of stability. Prices stabilized and the economy began to show tentative signs of recovery. Supermarket shelves were once again stocked with goods, and people could transact with a degree of predictability. The multi-currency system, however, was not without its drawbacks. It exposed the Zimbabwean economy to external shocks, particularly fluctuations in the value of the US dollar. The lack of control over monetary policy also limited the government's ability to respond effectively to economic challenges. In 2019, Zimbabwe reintroduced the Zimbabwean dollar, initially as a digital currency known as the RTGS dollar. This move was met with mixed reactions, with some welcoming the return of the national currency, while others expressed skepticism and concern. The reintroduction of the Zimbabwean dollar was intended to restore monetary sovereignty and provide the government with greater control over the economy. However, it also raised fears of a return to hyperinflation given the country's history. The government has implemented various measures to support the Zimbabwean dollar and manage inflation, including fiscal reforms, monetary policy tightening, and efforts to improve agricultural productivity. However, the success of these measures remains uncertain, and the Zimbabwean dollar has faced significant depreciation pressures in recent times. Section 5, Taming Inflation, Fiscal Reforms, and Monetary Policy. Recognizing the urgent need to address the root causes of inflation and stabilize the economy, the Zimbabwean government has embarked on a series of fiscal reforms and monetary policy measures. These efforts are aimed at restoring macroeconomic balance, curbing government spending, and tightening monetary conditions. On the fiscal front, the government has taken steps to reduce its budget deficit, which had been a major driver of inflation. This has involved cutting back on non-essential expenditures, streamlining government operations, and improving revenue collection. In terms of monetary policy, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has implemented measures to tighten liquidity conditions and curb money supply growth. This has included raising interest rates, limiting credit expansion, and introducing open market operations to mop up excess liquidity from the market. Section 6. Boosting agriculture, a key to stability. Agriculture, the backbone of Zimbabwe's economy, plays a crucial role in ensuring food security, generating employment, and earning foreign exchange. The government has identified the agricultural sector as a key priority for economic recovery, and has implemented various initiatives to boost productivity and improve food security. These initiatives include providing farmers with access to inputs such as seeds, fertilizers, and irrigation facilities. The government has also encouraged contract farming arrangements to connect farmers with markets and ensure a ready market for their produce. Furthermore, efforts are underway to promote climate-smart agriculture practices to enhance resilience to droughts, which have become more frequent in recent years. By investing in irrigation infrastructure and promoting drought-resistant crops, Zimbabwe aims to mitigate the impact of climate change on its agricultural sector. Section 7. The fight against corruption, a long road ahead. Corruption has been a persistent problem in Zimbabwe, undermining economic growth, eroding public trust, and hindering the effective implementation of government policies. The government has acknowledged the detrimental effects of corruption and has pledged to tackle it head-on. Efforts to combat corruption include strengthening institutions responsible for accountability and transparency, such as the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission. The government has also enacted legislation to enhance corporate governance and promote ethical behavior in both the public and private sectors. However, tackling corruption requires a sustained and multifaceted approach. It requires political will, effective enforcement of laws, and a change in the mindset and behavior of both public officials and citizens. Section 8. International support, a helping hand. Zimbabwe has been actively seeking international support to aid its economic recovery efforts. The government has engaged with international financial institutions such as the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank to access funding and technical assistance. These institutions have emphasized the importance of structural reforms, fiscal discipline, and good governance as conditions for their support. Zimbabwe has made progress in implementing some of these reforms, but more needs to be done to create a conducive environment for investment and sustainable growth. In addition to financial assistance, Zimbabwe has also benefited from technical expertise and capacity-building programs provided by international partners. These programs aim to strengthen institutions, improve governance, and support economic development initiatives. Section 9. Conclusion, a long climb to recovery. Zimbabwe's journey to economic recovery is fraught with challenges, but there is hope on the horizon. The government's commitment to fiscal reforms, monetary policy tightening, and structural reforms, if implemented effectively and transparently, can lay the foundation for sustainable growth and stability. Combating corruption, enhancing transparency, and ensuring political stability are essential prerequisites for attracting investment, restoring confidence, and creating an environment conducive to economic prosperity. The road ahead is long and arduous, but with determination, sound policies, and the support of its people and the international community, Zimbabwe can overcome its economic challenges and build a brighter future.